Welcome to the Queen Divas, Queens of Fitness podcast. Join your hosts, three-time WBFF world champions and WBFF royalty, Alicia Gowans and Stephanie Ayala McHugh, as we explore all things female health, training, competing, mindset, and living the fitness life every day.
Okay, so coming back today, I think that this is going to actually be a great episode on today's recording of the Queen Divas podcast with my beautiful co-host, Stephanie. We are talking about the healthy habits and the best healthy habits, in fact, probably our top 5 each. And I think coming on the back end of getting better from some pretty serious illness, some of these things might actually be the precursor for setting yourself up for some really great immune health and preventing some of the severities that might come if you are unlucky enough to catch COVID, like Steph has very recently.
And I'm recovering.
Literally, you set the day up.
Yes. I'm in the recovery process. You know, I think it's never something that goes from night and day with COVID. Everyone that's probably had it and has had pretty bad symptoms is going to understand that it's a slower process to get out of because it does kind of come and go. You have lingering symptoms. I found that a morning ritual as well as morning habits are really the essential key to setting up your day and making sure that you're servicing yourself for the day and being productive. And I think that this is all, you know, something very important for us to just kind of take note of, and it may help you guys with some tips. Ali, what are some of yours? I think we'll start with the the healthier person that is having, you know, things that are protocols because, you know, this is what services your day to day.
You know, look, when I think about this, actually, there's so many things that I do every single day that I forget because it's just literally part of my day now, right? So it becomes so, you know, woven into the fabric of your 24-hour clock that it doesn't become something where I go, oh, that's my thing, or that's my thing, or that's my thing. It's just something I just roll out of bed and do. So I have to really think about these, right? And peel back the layers because I have got, you know, decades of these really solid, healthy habits ingrained now that it's just literally my life as my life looks day to day.
The routine, for sure.
Yeah, but for some people listening to this, some of the things that we may talk about today, and we've said 5, but we may go through more because I've left this really quite organic. I didn't create a list or anything. I thought we're just going to flow through this conversationally because I am going to identify things that I do and unpack things that I do where I go, oh, well, actually, that is a habit. And even though that's a day-to-day thing for me, it is something that back in the day I had to think about and consciously choose, right? And I would say probably my very first thing is, and it's linked systemically to being able to get really great sleep, is the setting of my circadian. So the setting of, you know, that clock, which has got to happen by, you know, waking up within an hour of your wake time every single day of the week, whether it's Monday or it's Sunday. I'm still up every single day between the hours of 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. because I'm a morning person. I'm not a night owl. I know you and Kerry operate a little bit differently to us, and you're up later.
Sorry.
You're up later and literally up
I'm an owl.
I'm a night owl. You're what they call a lark. A lark is someone who is more predominantly late-based going to rest, late-based waking. And by late, we're not saying she sleeps till noon. No. She's like an 8 a.m. riser, right?
Yes, exactly.
Whereas,
that's like, it's
you know,
beautiful.
She'll be in bed like midnight to 1 a.m., right? Whereas we'll be in bed 9 p.m. done, out cold, snoring Z's next to Chris also snoring Z's next to me. Yeah. And then we're up at 5 to 6, right? Yeah, right. So for me, it's the consistency of that wake period. And one of the first things that I'll do, you know, well, after obviously the inevitable brushing the teeth, making the bed, because I think it's the most productive start to my day. And I've closed out the bedroom before I move into the next part of the day. That's a random thing, but that's literally how my brain will process it. And I think it's down to
it's a habit. That's a habit. Right? I actually would write that down. I mean, that is a habit. Right? You making your bed, brushing your teeth.
Yep, I make my bed, brush my teeth, then go downstairs. But then one of the things you want to be doing to set the circadian rhythm is having your eyes look at natural light and having some exposure to said natural light within the first hour of waking and before 8 a.m. So for Steph, she'd get out of bed and go straight to somewhere where she can see it.
The sun wakes me up. Let's just put it that way.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Whereas for me, like I'm up and I'm out. And one of the first things that we all do, you know, which anyone that follows me will see, before I had the fall and hurt my back at the start of the year, it was a walk. We would walk the dogs, go to the park. Since my fall and my back injury and, you know, just rehabbing that, I get on the bike. So I haven't changed. I just found a new way to do it. So I'm actually really loving my bike ride. So we get up in the morning, we hit two systems at once. We hit the circadian rhythm, but I also hit my lymphatic system. Now, lymphatic system is our waste removal system. Think about it like taking the trash out every morning. If you're not activating it and you're not getting the flow and the circulation going, for fun fact for everyone too, the lymphatic system holds 12 liters. 12 liters of lymph and waste. That's a fucking lot, guys. And if you're not moving that and starting to process it and getting it out of the system, you feel sluggish, you're cognitively disarmed. Like there are so many things that the lymphatic system impacts upon. And for someone like me with chronic pain and injury that I'm dealing with, it actually then creates greater hypersensitivity and more pain resistance. So you have less tolerance to pain. So for me to feel my best, I like to set the circadian rhythms. My sleep is profound. I like to get moving and the body functioning, but then also that kickstarts my lymphatic and I reduce some of the things and the symptoms I would have around my injury. So I've kind of, in talking about that as my primary number one, I've looped a couple of things into it, but you can see that one basic thing of getting out, getting on my bike, getting in the sun, looking to the sun, getting vitamin D and starting my lymphatic. That's one thing I'm doing, but it has this systemic multiple disciplinary benefit to me, right? So that one thing alone, if you just got up and went for a walk or jumped on a bike for 20, 30 minutes every morning, look at the impact that has on so many other things in your life, right?
It sure does.
So that's probably my first thing, Steph.
Claire, that's a great one. I think it's very similar, I think to just a day-to-day, ritual that we, totally follow as well, is just trying to make sure that you do get moving. I think you nailed it there with just getting out. If your weather doesn't allow, and here in the States, we do get a lot of cold states and not abilities to be able to go out and about, every morning. But when the seasons change, I think that's actually what I enjoy the most, is actually being able to get out and get some sun with the movement, but just being able to move, whether if that comes from a light walk. For myself, I do have a treadmill at home. Weather is very weird up and down here in Texas, particularly. So it's either really extremely hot. And if you don't get up before the 8 a.m., then you're not going to be able to go outside to do your walks. But then it gets really quite cold because we don't have mountains. We're in the flat plains in Texas. There is no mountains around like California, Washington, or up north. And because of that, the wind hits you like a frostbite. So you can get sick. I mean, it's just one of those things that you're just kind of enduring a weather a lot more. So just the treadmill is very easy for me. And if I don't do the treadmill, it's actually going to be a nice dynamic little warm-up flow that is going to be very power yoga related. It's not going to be really a lot of static stretches. It's going to be a lot more dynamic work, trying to get my hips open, trying to get blood flow. It's the same activation, Ali, with the lymphatic system. I think it's just in a different way when we're just stimulating our body, getting those endorphins to slightly start going. And it really helps get your mindset, get your body to wake up. So movement, I think that is just definitely going to be not staying stagnant. I think a lot of the times we immediately get up and just go sit, or get up and and just kind of stay still. And movement is what makes you wake up. So if we can create more movement earlier on in the day, I find that your mood is also enhanced and you feel so much better. How many times I get comments of clients like, wow, that cardio in the morning is actually waking me up, or I feel so much better with energy throughout the day. And it does not mean, guys, that you have to do fasted cardio or do cardio first thing, but it's about your daily activity, and if we're talking about day to day, maybe you have a sedentary job like myself over here, and I think we're in front of the computer hours on end. We don't have enough steps in the day. So us being able to do these walks when the weather permits, walking the dogs is the same thing for us, Sally. I think that's just kind of like a ritual. So like you get to connect, to with the nature and outdoors, and you just kind of
and with the dogs too, like they love it. You have fun. I don't know about you, but for me, maybe let's include this as a healthy habit. If you're someone that doesn't have an animal and you actually don't mind animals, man, get one. They
Oh,
are
the
the
love.
best way
Oh,
to boost your day. Wait,
for sure.
okay, I actually forgot something that I
Animals are
do
the best.
before I get on my bike, which is actually a mental health reboot for me, because my boys are, oh my God, they're my babies.
They
But
are.
first thing in the morning, after I do the bedroom and I close that and I walk down the stairs, the
They're
first thing
coming.
I do is I grab, it sounds so weird, but I grab a blanket off of one of the couches. I come downstairs and we've got this little seat that's like a futon seat that folds out, and it's actually a bed on the ground. The first thing I do is fold that out, and the boys come and lay with me, and we do 10 to 15 minutes of cuddles and pats and scratches.
So you have a little morning love cuddle session with your dogs, which is
I have a morning cuddle session.
I think the dogs are always going to welcome you with love like that. I mean, if I'm barely waking up, I have Brutus bringing me the blanket and literally saying, "Hey, mom, like, pet me, please," you know. And I think that is also a very, very warming and loving feeling. I think every human relates to feeling loved, right? And with an animal, the animal loves you unconditionally, and they're going to love you no matter 100%. What. And 100%. I think having animals in your life,
like, what you smell like
no, they don't care
how motivated or not
will you pet me and walk me and feed me. Yeah, I love you. Yeah, I think this is a great opportunity for anyone to journal, anyone to be able to write down a to-do list. Self-reflection doesn't always have to be about your own self. It could be just for self, meaning that you can service your day for yourself, meaning productiveness, knowing what you're going to get done for the day. If you're someone that likes to just kind of check things off, doing these little walks, or, you know, even biking, you know, or if you have a spin bike or a cycle bike, you know, at home, you're still able to do these things, you know, whether if you are in a treadmill or outdoors, you could do it on your phone, you could do it in your notes, you know, and really just organize your day. And if it is something non-organizational, then it would be, look, self-affirmations go a long way. As much as, you know, some people kind of think they're corny and they think that they're just like, oh, everybody talks about them and it just doesn't work. Guys, what you tell yourself every single day is your own truth. And if you are telling yourself, you know, negative thoughts, you know, you're not worthy, you're not good enough for, you know, whatever it is that you're doing, you're going to believe that. And you're going to start believing this narrative that you're writing to yourself and you're telling yourself. So it's really important to be very positive first thing in the morning. And I think this has helped me just snap out of maybe bad funks, and maybe you wake up and you think that you're mad about something, or maybe something upset you, or maybe something is still heavy on your heart, and it's a new day. With a new day comes a new opportunity for you to rechange your mood, change your mindset. And it comes with one planted seed in the morning. Means if you are immediately mad when you get out of bed and you're thinking of all the negative things, guess what? Everything is going to spiral negatively for the rest of the day. And you're going to feel the world's against you, instead of you trying to look at it with an outlook of more positiveness. And I understand we can't be just optimistic with everything, you know, because we are human, you know, we are going to get upset, or we're going to get moody, and we're going to have to deal with life. But we have the opportunity to plant these seeds first thing in the morning and be positive and try to put a little ray of sunlight in your dark day. And if it is going to be a dark day, heck, it could be a sunny ass day that day. And you're like, man, I had a great day today. And you don't even understand why, right? You're like, I don't know what made today so great. But maybe if you step back and like look at maybe how you started your day, it might have been something to do with the beginning of your day, because you set the tone, you set the mood. So I do think it's very powerful to self-reflect, you know, whether if it's organizing your day, because you're going to feel like a boss. You're going to feel like I accomplished everything on my to-do list, you know, because I set myself out to do it, right? Like I actually said, these are the things I'm going to do today, you know? So it comes down to making sure you do take a little time for yourself. So that's all I'm saying, as far as, you know, maybe not going and immediately hustling and bustling to start your day and letting the day own you. You need to organize your day to own the day. And I think that has helped tremendously.
Yeah, I love that. And probably that segues nicely into one of my, you know, definite healthy habits that I think, again, supports your sleep cycle, but also sets you up for the ability to be reflective and show, you know, practice gratitude and start to set your day up from a planning perspective, is No bloody screens first thing in the morning.
Good point. Very good point.
Turn your
I'm
alarm
guilty.
off and then go spend the first hour to hour and a half of your day working through the things, maybe some of the things we've just discussed, or maybe your list of, habits that best suit your lifestyle. But make those things a priority. Connect in with the humans around you. Like, do the things that basically ground you for the day before you start getting lifted off your feet by the tasks you have to complete, right? And one of the things that I like to do, so, you already know, I get up, make the bed, whatever, come down to the boys. I'm not on my phone. We then go, we ride all the way to a coffee shop, have our coffee. We're talking, we're engaging at the coffee shop. Christos and I get that moment, together in the morning, get back. Then I actually will start to clear systems. But I also use a tool called, it's actually by a company called the House of Routine. And they actually have this daily routine journal. And what I love about it is it gives you space to talk about, gratitude and affirmation. So the things that Steph has talked about. It also then gives you like the, top 5 things you want to achieve for that day. Are they linked into your goals and objectives, maybe for the month or for the quarter? Nice. So then you break them down. Then it also talks about, okay, what are you going to be having for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner? And then, you get to just make these notes.
Nice. What's the name of the app?
It's actually a journal you can buy. So
it's a journal. Okay, got it. It's a physical journal. I thought you were saying it was an app. I'm like, I can download this app.
No, it's so good. It's the House of Routine, and it's the daily routine journal. And they even have like this weekly calendar. So it's a big.
I've seen the planners, for those that do regular planning.
Yeah. So I have the planner on my desk and I write out my things for the week, and then I break it into my individual day and my daily routine journal. And then I can carry that with me anyway. But there is something cathartic, and there's actually research around the physical act of handwriting. So it's powerful. So I think don't just get too attached constantly to your tech. Stay off your tech, plan your day, map it out. You can continue to add to it. You can carry it with you wherever you go. Then hit your tech and start the day.
I love that. I think that's such a great method. I'm super guilty, guys. I'm like the opposite. I like use everything. Like, here's my iPad, here's my, notes, and here's my, I do have actually like pen and paper. Like, obviously I still write and stuff, but it's not something because I lose my papers and I feel like I'm like, where is my grocery list and where's my this? So I know my phone's not going to leave me because you're on top of it. Yeah, see, I love that. She's showing me the House of Routine planner, and planners are fantastic.
It even tells you.
Yeah, that's super nice.
What are you going to do today? Are you going to, read, listen to a podcast, journal, meditate, or create? And you can tick it.
So right? I use the Apple Calendar. I use, my phone's calendar, and I like literally block off everything. And this does come down to scheduling. I think people that may not feel like they're able to succeed or maybe be successful in meal prepping or working out or being consistent in these things, having a calendar and actually using it. Okay, not just having the calendar, but actually using it and filling it in and sticking to it. Actually doing the things that you're putting in the calendar that are going to be non-negotiable to you is going to help you be achievable to these goals, whether if it is tasks for work, working out, meal prepping. If you put it in your schedule, it's going to be something that once you look at your calendar, you're like, okay, Tuesday, I'm meal prepping, Wednesday, I obviously have a yoga session. If you're like people that do classes or, have certain appointments, like these are just the best way. I don't understand people that don't use calendars to appointment set, because that's just how I live. My phone reminds me in what order and at what time I'm doing anything for the day. So it does keep me grounded. I think that's just one of the tools that has helped me overall just to be successful in my day. That applies to working out. It's scheduled in there. Same thing with my cardio, same thing with practically my meals, because I already know the gaps, and if you're someone that's still trying to get meal frequency in, using a calendar and actually writing out when your meal times should be and putting an alarm. This helps tremendously for anyone that just cannot remember, I'm supposed to eat, every 3 hours. Put an alarm on your phone every 3 hours. And this is kind of going against you, Allie, of the phone, but
I just can't even imagine being someone that forgets to eat. Like, what even is that? I know a lot of people do it, but I mean, I'm sorry. Where is
What's
your
wrong
head?
with you? I'm just kidding.
What
I'm
is
just
wrong
kidding.
with
I
you?
get it. You're busy.
Like,
I understand. You've got a lot on your plate. But when hunger strikes and you actually are listening to
oh
your
my God.
metabolism,
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
no way. Yeah, there's no way we're skipping those
No.
meals.
And I think a really great way too to stay on track, and then to, you know, not just have a pie in the sky goal that it's not tethered to anything, is do a
Good point.
review every day. So you've set your day up, you've planned it out, but then go back at the end and be like, okay, well, how did I do? Was I efficient? Was I procrastinating? Was I productive? Was I distracted? Like, tick the things you've done, tick the things and then write out the things you did extra above and beyond, or the things you didn't get to. Well, why didn't I get to that? Am I avoiding it? Is there stuff around that for me? Is there some trigger stuff going on? But you can start to break down so many more things that will make more sense about your decision making and your actions by doing reviews of what you've actually done in a day, right? So
Self-reflection.
I
that
just
goes
know
beginning and end of the day.
yeah,
Absolutely.
when I set the day and then review it, I know I get 10 times more work done. So, you know, because for me, trying to juggle work, study, like everything, it's like, if I don't do that, it's a hot mess. So I definitely think that
very true. I think that self-reflecting at the end of the day is very important, just because so many people don't realize the whole day went by and I watched YouTube freaking videos for 3 hours when I could have actually been doing X, Y, and Z, right? I could have done the dishes. I could have, you know, done my clothes. I could have, you know, actually meal prepped. Here goes the time, eyes. Like how endless hours that are just YouTubed away and TikToked away. I'm like, holy shit, people, like, please get together of your time. Like, understand that you cannot get it back. And when you're whining and playing the victim, saying I'm not getting results or I'm not really seeing progress, it's probably not reflecting in your day how many hours on YouTube and TikTok you're spending, or on Instagram. It doesn't matter what platform you're on. Not calling one out more than the other, it just means
you know, you can test that too. You can see your
check your phone screen time for sure.
It's going to tell you whether or not you've improved in that. But I also think, you know, for everyone listening to this, go back and listen to our episode about food prepping and how to get the most out of your day surrounding food and staying on point with that. Because the next habit that I think is really great for anyone who leads a hectic, chaotic, busy schedule is don't let the schedule dictate that you have shitty health habits, and instead be focused and organized around your schedule and prep your goddamn food. If you can't have a flexible, you know, day-to-day because you're literally chaotic in your day, be organized, pre-plan your meals, have a meal plan that you've set up for yourself for the week, and then go be organized and prep for it, right? So go back and listen to that episode because there's a lot of really great tips and advice in that. But prepping your food or being across it is one other really great habit.
Big key component, guys. What she just said is, like, if you're not actually prepared with your food, you're going to prepare to fail, which I'm sure you guys have all heard that saying. So it's very true when it comes down to having habits. Your habits should fall back on meal prepping, meal timing, scheduling things in, which for me, I think a lot of neglected from a lot of people is water. Like, the fact that so many people do not drink sufficient amount of water blows my mind. I have a headache. I wonder why I'm like feeling, you know, a little off. I'm like, have you drank water at all? Like, I'm just asking because you sound like you need water. I've just watched you drink like 3 Bang energy drinks and I have not seen you drink one liquid water. Right? Like, and so water for me, I think, is one of the first things besides coffee, but coffee and water are the things that I will prioritize first thing in the morning.
Of life.
Yeah, you're probably right, Allie. I probably have a sips of coffee before I have my water, but along with the coffee, I do have at least 16 ounces of water every single morning to start my day. So to start the day, I make sure I am rehydrating. We do fast overnight, you know, so we're trying to make sure that first thing in the morning, your body, you know, actually rehydrates. And this does help me go into drinking a lot of the vitamins that I have set up. I know I'm still following, you know, recovery protocols coming out of, you know, having COVID and I prioritize that more than anything now, honestly. Like before, I always took my vitamins. I was pretty healthy at taking my supplementation, but now there's not going to go a day. Like I can guarantee you that for a fact. Like there's not going to go one day. Before I could skip a couple days and I'm like not tripping over it. And I'm like, oh, it's all good. I get home from this trip and I'll start taking my vitamins again. No. Like I am not going a day or I'm not skipping a beat with taking care of my vitamins, my micronutrients. So that means greens first thing in the morning. All my daily greens. I take the ones by Revive. They actually are in flavor, so it really helps a lot. Like for those that don't like the taste of actual greens, I'll have like chocolate or even berry, whatever kind of goes in the basket that morning. And I will have my coffee. I'll have my 16 ounces of water and down my vitamins. That's going to be everything that is included: immune multi, vitamin C, zinc, D, I'll even take turmeric just because it's a crazy amount of antioxidants and anti-inflammatory properties that it has. And it's just a real big essential one that I've just taken now with not just COVID, but it does help tremendously. And
there's amazing turmeric lattes that you can get. Oh, phenomenal. And I agree with you there. Phenomenal at boosting
just everything. Yeah. Just overall well-being.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So that's my first thing.
Jumping on that, I think, another key healthy habit and something that definitely, profoundly changed the way I looked at things was I took my focus, in just throwing together food that fits to being primarily focused on hitting my protein intake first, above all else, and not getting whilst I always wanted whole foods, having protein shakes is fine. It's they're a great way to curb sugar cravings if you're having them. They've got a really good nutritional value to them. A lot of the times now you can find ones that have no fillers, no sugars, no bullshit, and they can actually be really great to cook with, right? So I went from being, just all had to be whole foods to then being more mindset about being able to have shakes and whatever else. And, the second biggest thing, which I'd say is even bigger than the protein for me some days, is that filling up on my vegetables, making sure that when I'm putting my plate together, I'm loading the multiple colored based, vegetable base and salad base before anything else. And, inadvertently, if you're doing that, you're getting a huge whack of nutrients. You're definitely unintentionally even covering off most of your macros. So when we're talking about things like recovery from illness or preventative structures to keep yourself, your baselines as optimized as possible to prevent really serious, illness, is get your macros covered. So, you can kickstart that by simply having vegetables or salad or fruit, throughout the course of your day, and stop
and water.
Vegetable. Exactly. And lots of color. Don't be afraid to have color in what you're consuming. I think leafy greens have to be at the base of everything, but I think having the diversity across all of the spectrum of vegetables on offer to you is super important. Really is. And we neglect nutrients like that because we're like, oh, I don't like that vegetable and I don't like that one. And I'm like, you know what? I only like this one. I've been that person. So I relate to that, which is why I needed to prioritize actually getting more micronutrients in, which is why the daily greens were really essential for me. Of course, they're not, look, guys, you have to understand the comparison between a wholesome food, like Ali was saying, and a supplementation, they're not going to match exactly 100% the same, but their nutrients, right? Like the macros that are reflecting it are going to mimic it as close as possible. So you supplementing in, daily greens or protein powder is going to get us to the target. But yes, can we be having a technically better wholesome approach to things? Absolutely, by eating all the vegetables and eating all the chicken and meats in the world and eggs and beans and everything that you want, right? But it's about, making sure you do find what is a preference for you to actually stay consistent with it. Because if you're someone that absolutely loathes micronutrients being vegetables and you're just like, I just don't eat them because I hate them, please at least try getting in some micros through some supplementation, like through, greens, or even if there's pill forms, if you don't want to do powder. Okay. Like there's a lot of other ways you can get the micronutrients in. Of course, the best would be through actual vegetables, and water. Okay. But it's making sure, you do at least prioritize it. I think getting a test done at least once a year too, to
Yeah.
test your markers, like where do you sit on the spectrum of having all of these minerals and vitamins inside of you? You know, like, are
Yep.
you low? Can you, you know, determine whether or not you've got enough omegas even, because there's tests to see if you've got enough omegas in you. Like, it's really, really, really important. And then you can understand where's the gap, and also sometimes identify why you might not be absorbing something, because there might be a precursor to that absorption not being, you know, not happening, not taking place. And so these things are super interesting, and you start to find out how combinations might, you know, detract from absorption. Like, there's so much to get into, but I think you don't know what you don't know, so get everything tested. You always want to have a reference point that you can refer to. And then I think just start. You don't need to have a big fancy test done straight away, but just start by increasing the frequency and the consumption of vegetables, the colors and the diversity. You're making sure that you've got at least 2 servings of fruit in the day. You know, just literally follow the basic guidelines and you will have better health, right? So
Yes,
I think that's the starting point too. And look, you know, one of the probably the final things that I would talk about as being a healthy habit that I have is just literally then my bedtime ritual, which, you know, as you guys can tell, sleep is just so important. And I prioritize it above like almost anything else. Like, actually, quite literally, when I'm pregnant,
we're not the team no sleep like a lot of people like to
no,
claim. They're like, team no sleep. I'm like, you are
no,
gonna really suffer.
I'm like the just give me a doona and an eye cover and leave me alone. You know, like I 100% validate and value sleep. You know? So for me, the bedtime ritual then becomes just as important, and it's about, for me, having that same, I've got my body into a rhythm and a routine. Christos and I have, you know, compromised over the years and given ourselves boundaries on our time for work and shut off at a certain time. We'll, you know, do dinner together and connect together there. And then we sit down and we will actually switch off, phones, you know, down. We will watch something, you know, together. And then we're literally in bed again. Same deal as when you're waking up, within the hour, you know, gap.
Get off,
Consistently every single night. You know what I mean? Like, I just find that has helped me so profoundly, like functioning day to day, cognitive capacity throughout the course of the day, my hair, my nails, my skin, my sleep, my mood, my energy.
everything.
If I didn't have a focus on it throughout this whole freaking IVF journey, I don't know that I would have survived, because it was just super important. And I think from an immune point of view, you compromise sleep, you compromise everything.
You sure do. And I think what a lot of us don't realize either when we're not getting enough sleep is we're not growing. We're not actually letting our hormones, our organs, and do our bodily functions that they should do, because we're down regulating everything, because now we're starting to get to a point where our cortisol level doesn't really ever come down. It's just high all the freaking time. You know, your adrenals are starting to actually not understand how they should function, you know, because you're putting in so much caffeine to stay up. You're not having a sleep time. You're not getting adequate amount of sleep. We've actually talked about the importance of sleep. You can always go back to that episode and listen to that, making sure you get deep REM sleep and you actually prioritize it. This is how you're going to function better and grow. If your purpose here is to build a physique, if I know a lot of you that follow us and, you know, are listening to this cast is more about, you know, trying to be better, you know, grow, build muscle, be competitors, or live a healthy lifestyle. Guess what? The pillar of all of this is going to be sleep. And a lot of the key components that we talked about today, if you implement these into your day-to-day, you're definitely going to be a successful person.
Okay, so we've covered off so many great habits and tips here. I think, you know, from the way that we kickstart the morning, staying off of the tech straight away, you know, getting out into the sun, kicking off the lymphatic system, making sure that you set your day up for success, organization, planning, gratitude reflections, doing your end of the day review, food prepping, filling up on vegetables, hitting your macros and your water, and then reviewing the day, setting the intentions for the following day, and having a bit of a sleep hygiene-based ritual so that you are not compromising sleep. So I think all the things we've covered off should help someone from an immune point of view, and especially with the recovery process, should you be in Stephanie's position. But I think it should just help you in general.
Anyone, honestly.
Structure to your day, right?
just anyone in a fitness journey and just trying to better their health. Like, this is about self-care. This is about you prioritizing yourself, like not letting the world and the day run you. You run the day. We don't dictate what happens in the world, but we can definitely dictate how we run our day. And we need to just prioritize, trying to organize, trying to be mindful, more self-reflective, self-aware. All of this is just going to really allow you to understand yourself and understand maybe why you're not getting the progress or seeing the results, or getting maybe further in your journey. Reflect on some of these things that we talked about today and try to implement them. Let us know how you guys liked some of the things that we talked about, or just try them out and see
maybe share with us some of your top.
I love that. Yeah,
I need to hear from you.
For sure. Share it on, let us know, tag us, comment, and definitely let us know any of the rituals that you guys may do, routines that have helped you, things that, of course, are to service you in a positive way. That's all we're trying to do. And hopefully all these tips and, things that we talked about has helped you. And hopefully you're listening to this in the morning to make your day a little more productive. If you're listening to this later on in the day, I hope you maybe self-reflect and look at your day and see how you've done today. Until next time, guys, thank you guys for listening, and we will see y'all on the next episode.
Thanks, Steph. Speak to you next week.
Bye. See you next week. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Queen Divas, Queens of Fitness podcast. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at Queen Divas Pod, on Twitter at Queen Divas 4, and follow our hosts on Instagram, Alicia at Alicia Gowans _WBFF Pro, and Steph at Stephanie Ayala 7. See you all next week.